Well, hello, everybody. I am back from just taking a little bit of a break from the internet, from Wi Fi, and all of that, and really working in my life, my real tangible life. But I want to come back to you today with another amazing podcast with information. Today, I want to talk about our sovereignty and I want to talk about universal law. So, my name is Monica Anderson, and I'm here with the new Quantum Living New Earth podcast. And we are in season 2, probably this is like episode 9. I don't know. But all of my podcast, you guys, is relevant for this time that you're in. Even if you think you woke up, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago, you will get definite information from my podcast that will help move the needle for you. So, what I want to talk about today, and I don't have a script. I just have what's in my soul, and I have my life experiences that are being put together in a way for me to communicate to you the times that we're in. And I'm seeing them literally in my life. Like physically, the spiritual realm is showing up, and it is forcing me to, and it's been forcing me, but it's forcing me now and all of us to navigate these areas that we're in with precision. And how do we do that? We have to know that we are living, and we always have, we are living under universal law. So we are discovering our sovereignty, which what does the sovereignty mean? If you are sovereign, which you are, but you're sovereign being, meaning that you are taking control of yourself, taking control of your own thoughts and feelings, and you realize that you personally have the ultimate power to create the life that you want. And there is no one or nothing that can make you live in a way that you don't want to live. But the thing of it is that we have been programmed through these last 6,013 years. We've been programmed, and the human has been born to just learn what the rules are, be told from the minute they're born. There's a protocol on what you're supposed to do, down to the goop that's put in babies' eyes. So, our sovereignty and the realization of our sovereignty is in direct correlation to our understanding of universal law and what is going on. And I just took a little bit of a pause there on my podcast because I don't know if you heard my birds. They were just freaking out for a minute. So I had to go check on them. So I want to talk about this through my experiences and things that have happened, and maybe tell a little bit more of my story of how I got to this point, and then weave in some points that can help utilize, you can help utilize. And that is entirely what I'm doing. I decided 5 years ago that I'm going to, over 5 years ago, but I'm going to step out with this information and live it. Live this information and see what happens. And I've taken a lot of backlash, and I've lost a lot of people. And my relationships have been strained. But ultimately, I think that the people who are still talking to me and the ones that are observing me, that know me, they are seeing that I have done nothing but go forward and move up. And I have affected thousands of people's lives for the positive, where it's to the point where I realize that if I did not do this, if I did not do all that I've done in the last 5 years, the world would not be in as good of a place as it's in. And that's pretty amazing to feel that inside. It's like when you take consistency and you take action on your inspired, heart-based knowings, and you consistently go forward with that despite all of the negatives that come to you, that changes you. That makes you more solid. So let me tell you, let me go back. Let's go back to, 2019 time frame into 2019, 2020 time frame, somewhere around there, okay, when the COVID era started. So back then, I had known, so I was one of the people that was chosen, I guess, or somehow got one of the very first Q drops that came in 2016, 2017, October of 2017. And there is information that the Q is, was a psyops to help people kind of move through this information that is coming about. They were kind of woken up early, if you will. So I was woken up a long time ago. I was married to somebody in 1996 who was illuminated and a higher being who knew. I don't think that he knew all of this about the galactics and all of that, but he was seeing UFOs and he was doing things like that. I remember him preparing us for Y2K and all of this stuff. So I had been awakened. And also when 9/11 happened, I received a bag of VHS. So, for some of you young people, VHS is a video record. It's like a tape, and you put it in a machine, and it plays a movie. Um, so I received a bag of VHS tapes, and it was showing how 9/11 was an inside job, and that George Bush Jr. was part of the Skull and Bones, all this kind of stuff. So I started doing my research back then, and but there was no, I had no idea that we're talking to 20 years, all these years later, and I was horrified by what was going on with the children and everything like that. Again, 20 years ago, did not know the extent of it. So let's just fast forward to 2019, 2020. I had purchased some land, 5 acres in Washington State, in Carnation, Washington, having an inkling that I needed to move into the countryside. I was newly married, and my new husband was not wanting or, understanding what's going on. And it was just typical what you would do. It's like, no, we're not moving out into the middle of nowhere. I have a job. We have to live here, whatever. So we moved to Carnation as like a compromise. We're living on 5 acres. There's a little store and a little farm store where I can get my duck eggs and vegetables. And we built this house, and it was like, okay, we're going to live there for the next 20 years. I was getting my health certificate, my holistic certification during that time, and I was planning retreats and going to do women's retreats, holistic retreats, and all of that. And then things started coming about. I was getting the idea about the village, or about the community living and really coming together despite, the past and all this. I just was so naive. I had a big Easter, because you know how Trump said all this will be done by Easter. Okay. He said that back in 2019, 2020. And so here we are in April of 2020. So some of you guys who know that clip where Trump is saying by Easter, Put in the comments if you can when that was. But that clip, so I thought that it was going to happen, whatever is going to happen. But now I realize nothing's really going to happen. It's happening gradually. And as we realize our sovereignty, we move forward to the next thing. But to go back to the story of how I ended up in upstate South Carolina and how I ended up knowing all these things and preparing for all these changes, I so in 2020 I had this Easter brunch and I invited my ex-husband, my husband invited his ex-wife, and we were all coming together, and I thought, they started the whole wearing masks and all that. And for those first couple of weeks, it was like, okay, I'm gonna stay home, and we're cleaning our house and doing all that. But I'm like, something's not right. And I knew there was going to be a big event that would change the world. So I was like, is this it? Is this it? But I did not know that it was going to last, this COVID era, as they call it, for 4 years. I kept on thinking, okay, it's going to change. It's going to change. It's going to change. Like days would go by, weeks would go by. And I'm like, I'm so confused of what's going on. Well, some different things happened. Um, in the town that I was in. So many changes were going on at that time. And here we are in 2020. I thought things were going to happen. There was some series of unfortunate events that happened in Issaquah, Washington that I'm not even going to go into. But they prompted me to know that I needed to leave. I needed to get out of Washington State. The writing was on the wall. People were acting completely irrational. I was not going to comply with the masks. I was not going to comply with the vaccines, which came later, but I was not going to comply with any of that. My husband, on the other hand, he was going out and getting food for us and doing all the things that we need to do, which was a huge burden put on him because he was doing that because I would refused. I would not go out and put a mask on in order to shop at a store. And I was saying that when we were at the store. So he was kind of taking care of that burden, but he didn't know what was going on with me. So I had a huge awakening, like kind of like a revelation awakening through the natural water birth of my daughter, my youngest daughter, who is 6, in 2018, just as a little backdrop. And so I was going through a lot of changes and acting a lot different and trying to figure out who I was and what was going on with me. I did not understand what was going on. So Jarek is dealing with that, with my changes. And then he's also dealing with all these COVID changes. And, he was willing to put a mask on to go get food for us and do all that, as all of you guys were at first. And he was not at the level that of understanding. And I wasn't even understanding completely what was going on like I do now. But I did have enough fire in me to come home from Target one day and say, that's it, we got to go. So we started planning. So back about, let's say in 20, I don't know, 2018, no, 2017 or so. I don't know. But I went to South Carolina, to Charleston, on a trip with a friend of mine. It was a business trip, her husband's business trip, but we were going there, the wives were going there to spend time together and enjoy South Carolina. Well, one of the things that happened when we were there is I was in Charleston on the riverfront, and I'm like, it's so crazy. I just feel like I should live here. I feel like I'm from here. Like, what is going on? And I would love to live here. And the gal I was with was like, "Yeah, I want to live here too." And I'm like, "You guys should, because you guys come here every few weeks. You guys should move here." And she had all these things of why, at the time her husband wouldn't, and all this, and it was fine, and it's like whatever. But she said to me, "Well, why don't you move here? You always say you can create whatever you want, so why don't you move here?" And I'm like, "Well, my husband just opened up an office in Seattle, and so, that's why we can't move, but maybe in 2 to 3 years." I'm like, "I'll write it down." So when I got back to my hotel room, I wrote down October 2020, be in South Carolina. I forgot all about that. Forgot all about that. So when I came home that day from Target at my wits' end in 2020, and I said to my husband, I said, "We're leaving." And I'm like, "Let's just talk about it. Where would you go? Where would we go if we were going to move? Let's just for fun, let's talk." And we talked. And the first place we looked at was West Virginia. And that was just something my husband brought up. We just picked it and we looked into it. And I was like, "No, that doesn't look right," which, if any of you guys know, you could see that it's not. That would not have been a good place for us. And so, anyway, long story short, we picked South Carolina, and it was like, "Okay, we're going to do this." And I was living, okay? I just moved into my house. I have unpacked all of my boxes, unpacked everything, and was trying to solidify that I am living in this house. And I didn't tell you this when I was moving into that house in Carnation. I walked into that house, and when you walk into that in your house, whether it's your house, your apartment, whatever, when you're first moving in and you're in there by yourself, and you're just kind of in there by yourself putting stuff away. Well, I was doing that, and I was just looking at the house and, admiring it and thinking about it and stuff. And this voice said, "You're not staying here." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "You're not going to be staying here." And when I had designed the house with the interior designer, I was designing it with what I wanted, but I had this feeling that I needed to design it somewhat neutral so that it would be for somebody, when I would sell it. So I knew it. I knew it the whole time, but I was trying to work within the parameters of a 3D, somebody who was living in the 3D. And I had been, after my divorce, I had dated people over on the East Coast and was talking with people looking for jobs over there. I was also working over on the East Coast for a period of time. So I was really familiar with it. And I knew that I was supposed to be over there. So we picked South Carolina. And then I remembered that it was that I wrote it down, all those years ago, which was just crazy. We came down here within 24, went down there, looked at upstate. They started their masking policy and all this stuff mid-flight that you had to have a mask on, and that caused a whole bunch of controversy. And I was formally kicked off Delta Airlines until the masking policy ended. And so I haven't been traveling, not because of that, but I haven't been traveling. We haven't been traveling at all like we used to. We are world travelers and we haven't been traveling. But I want to get to this. So we made this move, and there's so much I could tell you, but we made this move to South Carolina, upstate South Carolina. It was literally like moving to a foreign land. You don't know anybody, you don't know their culture. Every single thing is different. Well, I was awakening then and knowing that something's going on and trying to figure out who I was. Well, it turns out that the South is this is where the last reset started. Everything here started in the South. Everything here started in the South. So I was brought here to kind of uncover this and unwrap this, but I want to get to understanding your sovereignty and what that really means, and also talking about universal law. So I gave you a little bit of a taste where I, against all odds, I went and moved every single thing. Okay. In a brand new house, every box unboxed, new furniture, everything up, spent thousands of dollars, lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in order to make the move and to create my company, Raw with Peace, and to create my community and all the stuff that has happened that would not have happened. That would not have happened if I did not have the guts to make these moves. So you guys are being presented with this opportunity to make moves and to do things in your life. It's not going to be laid out where it's an easy decision. It wasn't an easy decision for me back, 11 years ago or so, to divorce my to get out of my first marriage. I wanted to stay in my first marriage. I wanted to do what I'm doing now in my second marriage. I wanted to partner with somebody to create this life. My mom used to say, she's like, "Oh, you're so ridiculous. You just think everything is like a Norman Rockwell painting," because I want this community and this family and this fellowship. And I've always known that that's how we're supposed to live. And my whole life, I've just been standing outside of it going, I don't get it. Like, why do you guys want to be divided? Why don't you want to come together? And then when I made this move here and trying to get people to move and be part of a community and to grow a community garden and to learn about universal law, people don't want to do it. They want to hold on to their 3D world. And they don't realize that it's going to take going within and taking inspired action, and it is not going to be comfortable. If it was comfortable, then you wouldn't even notice it to do it. So these things, because we've been put basically in a bubble and the bubble is bursting, the veil is thin, the apocalypse is here, the great unveiling of your soul is happening now. And that is being reflected in the greater consciousness. Okay. So the chaos that you're seeing out in the world, that's a direct reflection of the chaos within all of us. So as each person consciously decides to step out of that chaos, they are building the light to continuity and flow that we can all ride on. So anything that you're doing to be within living your life within universal law and doing extreme self-care and keeping your vibration high and anchoring in those high frequencies so that you level up to the next thing, that is doing something for humanity. That is unity consciousness. It's big. But going to work every day, at a job that you hate to earn money because you think you're doing some big thing to support your family. Most of you guys probably don't even have family. You're not doing it because you want to support your family. You want to do it so you can continue to live this convenient life. And you're seeing this convenient life go away and you're freaking out and you're getting mad because your handout is no longer. Well, I want to talk about the next 7 years or so going into 2032. We have big, big things going to be happening, and you've got to be of sound mind, body, and spirit in order to get through it. You have to understand universal law, or you will struggle. And 2025 is going to present itself as a massive, massive struggle for people that want to continue to hold on to the old world. So let's talk about a few universal laws. I keep on looking over at my birds. So I have new birds and I have this one little yellow bird that doesn't seem to be integrating with the rest of the group. And so I keep on checking on them. But I want to talk about some of the different laws that we have because I don't think that I'm going to talk about like 12. I probably won't go over all 12, but I want to talk about some of the main laws and 12 of them in particular. Okay. So the first one, which I kind of talked about just now, and it's very important that you understand that the universal laws are, it's not my opinion. So it's not something that I'm, as a speaker, just trying to get people into. It's just actually how the universe itself works. So let's look at some of them. What are the 12 universal laws, or what are 12? There's more than 12. Okay, there's more than 12. So when you look up universal laws, you're going to see lots of different kind of views of it. Um, but just knowing that you're living your life through these laws and that they're going, that's the biggest thing to understand. These laws of the universe are going regardless of whether you like them, agree with them, acknowledge them, or not. So let's talk about them. So the first one let's talk about is the law of divine oneness. Okay. This is an excellent law. And when you understand this, your life completely changes. So the law of divine oneness is the cornerstone of all the laws, of all the universal laws. And this everything, and it is putting the law of divine oneness is saying stating that everything in the universe is interconnected. It emphasizes that every thought, action, and event is linked, not just within our realm, but the vast expanse of this universe. So if you're listening to this podcast, for instance, you and I are connected somehow through the universe. It is not an accident that you watch this podcast. You're somehow, your frequency is connected with mine on some level. So, connection to other laws. The foundational principle connects our experiences to the larger cosmos. Understanding this interconnectedness helps us to understand, to see how our thoughts and actions can ripple across the universe, impacting others and the outer world. Here is a practical application of the law of oneness. So you start by recognizing the impact of your actions and your thoughts on others in your life and your circle of friends. Cultivate empathy and compassion in daily interactions. Acknowledge that every positive thought or deed contributes to the collective well-being of the universe. So I stated that earlier. Every single thing that you do, every positive thing that you do, and negative, but every positive thing you do is affecting the universe. So it's not selfish. It's not selfish to take care of yourself, to take time in the morning to do your meditations, to thinking good thoughts, taking time to make quality food for your family in lieu of watching a TV show. All these things are what you do to create this oneness in your life and understanding this divine oneness. So what the next law let's talk about is the law of correspondence. So the law of correspondence says that it's the principles governing the cosmos are reflected in our personal life. So as above, so below. It suggests a harmony between the microcosm, the universe, and the macrocosm. So the individual. So I reverse that. So the law of correspondence suggests a harmony between the macrocosm, which is the universe, and the microcosm, which is you, the individual. So the correspondence between, we're going to talk about the correspondence between you and the universe and how that is all connected and it all affects the world. Connection to other laws. The law provides insight into how reality mirrors the larger universal truths. It closely re- it's closely related to the law of divine oneness and the law of attraction, which we're going to talk about next, and showing how our internal world reflects our internal reality. So, law of correspondence, you could think about as reflection. What as above, so below. Okay, whatever is going on inside of you is going to be reflected in your environment. So the people, places, things are a reflection of what's going on inside of you. So you can't really hide it, you know? And people who do and try to, be inauthentic and try to create a perception of who they are that isn't who they are inside, it's really obvious now, right? So here's some practical applications for the law of correspondence. So observe patterns in your life as reflections of your inner world. Work on transforming negative thoughts and beliefs as they will manifest in your external circumstances. Focus on creating a positive inner dialogue. So if you're at the beginning of this and you don't feel like you have this positive inner dialogue, you just want to first observe how you're speaking with yourself. Observe your environment right now as you're listening to this podcast. Is it the way you want it? Ask yourself, why is my environment not the way I want it? What is it within me that is reflected outwardly that I could change? What needs to be adjusted? Every single circumstances that comes into your life is there as a reflection, even if it's a small fractal. It's a reflection of something inside of you. And this is giving you an opportunity to transmute it. So that's why it's so incredible to recognize these things, because you recognize them not to go into victimhood, not to go, double down on your survival mode, but we're recognizing these things within us so that we can look at it, figure out the source of it and where it came from, and then change it and transmute it and turn away from it and do something of a higher vibration, which will bring us to the law of attraction, which has been in the last few years, let's say the last decade, it has been completely disgustingly mistaught. So the law of attraction doesn't work just by thinking about it and then it appears. Like you want a Lamborghini, and so you think about it and you love it, but you're just sitting around and you just think it's going to appear in your driveway. No, it is about being the frequency and being the vibration of whatever it is that you're wanting. So the most popular universal law is the law of attraction. And it states that like attracts like. It implies that our thoughts and feelings attract similar energies, whether positive or negative. Connection to other laws. The law of attraction is a natural consequence of the law of vibration. Our vibrational frequency determines the energies we attract. It's also tied to the law of correspondence, reflecting our inner state in our life circumstances. Did you hear that? It's also tied to the law of correspondence, reflecting our inner state in our life circumstances. So your life circumstances are reflected in the law of attraction. So what are you attracting? Is it what you want? Is it the vibrational frequency that you want? If it is not, just say that. Just acknowledge, no, this isn't the life I want. This isn't how I want to live. This isn't the job I want. This isn't the relationship I want. This isn't the place that I want to live in. This isn't the attitude that I want to carry. I want to turn away from it. I want to change it. What do I do? One thing with the universe is that I will put in here in the middle is that you have to ask. You have to ask for these changes. You have to ask for these revelations. That is something that is kept from us. We don't know. So make sure that you're asking. Ask for things to be revealed to you. Ask for circumstances to shift in a manner that will reveal your next steps. Okay? Ask for it, and then you will start seeing it. So, some practical applications for the law of attraction. Practice mindfulness in your thoughts and emotions. Focus on positive affirmations and visualizations to attract desired outcomes. Cultivate an attitude of gratitude to attract more abundance and positivity in your life. So I set up this group called the Reality Shifters, and it's at therealityshifters.com. And I would love for you guys to all join it who are on this path. It is a path for people who are going to the higher earth and that want to learn and attract these higher energies. And I put in that, I thought about it when I'm telling you guys about the law of attraction. The affirmation part, because I put in there a book by Saint Germain that it's a 4.5 hour book that you can listen to, and you can buy the hard copy book too, but it has incredible life-changing insights in it that my members are, several of them have listened to the whole thing and they're totally taking advantage of it. And that's what you do. You move towards the higher vibrations. You don't sit there and create this separateness, and you're not going to join a group because you want to be on your own and be on hermit mode. My group, I made it for this particular thing where you can go in there and you can just go around, get information, get meditations, get recipes, protocols, health protocols, frequency work, articles, and my podcast. I post my podcast in there. I post articles in there. I meet live. I do all this stuff. But I'm walking through this too, but I'm just kind of here guiding everybody. So definitely consider joining, no matter how you know me or what it is, because it is a excellent place to just kind of park yourself and with other people that are trying to figure out what's going on, but they're all holding hands together to support each other in this, because this is complicated. This is complicated, and we must do this together. And I created this group too for a way for me to be able to reach all of my people, and be able to kind of wrap my arms around them in more of an efficient way, because I'm like doing email, TikTok, doing all this stuff. So the group is there for people to be able to connect with me. So there is a 7-day free trial. It's $8.88 a month. Or you can buy it for $88.88 a year. So it's really inexpensive. That doesn't even cover the cost of the membership. But for the membership for me to have it, for you guys, but I just put it together so that people do have a place to be. So let's go on with the next law of inspired action. I've been talking about that one throughout the whole thing, and you're noticing all of these laws, the 12 that I'm talking about today, they all kind of, hinge on top of each other. So you want to start with the divine, the law of the divine oneness, and understanding that and meditating on that. And then you're going to go on to the law of vibration and the law of correspondence, the law of attraction. And then that's going to bring you to the law of inspired action. So, the law of inspired action emphasizes the importance of taking proactive steps towards your goals and desires. So, that's bringing to me one of the things that I think prevents us from taking inspired action is because we're looking at all the steps and everything that need to be taken, and it feels overwhelming. But if we realize that just taking what comes into our heart to do, knowing that that's bringing us towards something bigger, that we're creating something bigger. So 5, 10 years ago, just in that time frame, let's say, I had started buying seeds. I don't even have them in here anymore. But I started buying seeds, individual seeds, for this garden that I'm like, I'm going to have it. I'm going to have it. My last marriage, for whatever reason, I couldn't have a garden. But I wanted a garden, and I've always wanted a garden. And it was like years ago, I planted seeds about this garden years ago and got all of been buying seeds for the last 5 years. Whenever I went shopping, I got heirloom seeds and all these beautiful seeds. And now I am planting them. This will be my third garden. And yesterday I went and I planted all my seedlings to get them ready to be put into the garden in a month or so. And I'm going to plant more this afternoon. But it was all getting ready, taking inspired action 5 years ago. Okay. In knowing that each thing that you do is bringing you towards your abundant life that you're going to have. So the law of inspired action emphasizes the importance of taking proactive steps towards your goals and desires. It's not enough to simply wish or visualize. Action must be taken to manifest these aspirations. Again, I'll just say it one more time. The issue I think that we come into is we get overwhelmed by all of what it's going to take. And something really simple, like when you go to the grocery store next, or you go to Lowe's or wherever, go buy one packet of beautiful seeds of anything. Have your child pick them out, whatever, and just buy them. That's putting you on a new timeline. So, connection to the other laws. The law works hand in hand. The law of inspired action works hand in hand with the law of attraction. While the law of attraction draws opportunities towards you, so you'll see the opportunities, okay? You don't have to go out and look for them. You'll see the opportunities before you, and then you want to take inspired action. So the law of inspired action requires you to seize these opportunities. It bridges the gap between the mental and physical realms. So practical application of the law of inspired action, listen to your intuition. Your intuition comes through your heart space, now. And so you want to listen to your intuition, take steps towards your goals, even small ones. Act on your inspirations when they arise. Remember, no matter how small, every action moves you towards your desired outcome. So I just gave you that example of getting the seeds. That will change your life, or whatever it is that you want to create. Just get the paints, get the paintbrushes, just start getting stuff that take inspired action, and don't let yourself think, oh, this is stupid. This is a little thing. It's not going to make a difference. It does. Everything makes a difference. So let's talk about the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. This is a big one. The law of perpetual transmutation of energies states that the energy is constantly in flux and transformation. Energy never dies. High vibration energy will naturally transmit lower vibrational energies to a higher frequency. So it transmutes it. And those of you guys that call yourself empaths, or you know that you're empathic, um, what you do is that, and this is one of the reasons why I do the podcast, because I can kind of be isolated a little bit, because like TikTok and all of that, when I'm live, you're taking on all of the negative energy and you transmute it and work it through and give it back to that person as something positive. That is spiritual alchemy that you're working on. So, connection to other laws. How is this law connected to other laws? It's closely linked with the law of vibration. Understanding this law allows us to change in negative situations by applying positive energy, thus transforming our experiences. So, practical application: surround yourself with positive influences and environments that uplift your energies. When faced with negativity, consciously shift your focus to positive thoughts and emotions to transmute the energy around you. So, all of this is going along with what I was saying about finding your sovereign self. How do you figure out how are you sovereign? What does that mean, Monica? I don't get it. Well, you understand these universal laws and you don't need to understand them completely. You just need to apply them. You need to apply them. So the thing with the law of attraction is it's becoming the frequency of what it is that you want in your life. And so what does that person do that is living that life? What do they eat? What do they think? How do they act? Where do they live? How do they breathe? All these things. So you just start taking inspired action. And I'm telling you, and some of you guys are knowing this, that as you do this, you get things put into your heart. And it's like, you're like, where did this stuff come from? But it's given to you, it's unlocked within you, and it helps you on your journey. So let's talk about the next one, law of cause and effect. So often phrased as every action reacts. This is what the laws of cause and effects translates to. That every decision and action brings about a corresponding outcome. It highlights the direct impact of our action on our lives and the world and the equal and opposite reaction. Connection to other laws. The law is fundamental to understanding the mechanics of other laws, particularly the law of attraction. It reinforces the idea that we are the architects of our destiny through our actions and decisions. Practical application. So you want to be mindful of your actions and decisions, recognizing that their potential consequences. Make choices that align with your values and desired outcomes, understanding that each decision shapes your future. So literally, the clothes you decide to wear, the jewelry you wear, the words that you use, the actions that you take, they all have consequences. They all are going to reflect back to you what it is that you are in your heart wanting to achieve. So that's why it's super important to know what the program beliefs that are not your own are in your life, in your being, so that you can deprogram yourself, and your actions that come into your heart, you could take inspired action on them because they come from a pure vessel. So the more you contribute positively to the lives of others, the more you will receive in return. This can manifest in various forms, including wealth, love, friendship, and opportunities. So we are going into that. We are in that now, that everything we are to be doing in our lives is to be in service to others. Okay. We take care of ourselves and our physical being and our spiritual being. And then once our Garden of Eden is nurtured and is going well, and we've tended to our own gardens, and our own garden is shining out and growing and abundant, then we share that with other people and we spread that love to other people. That's why I have on the cover, my artwork cover is the heart with the garden coming out, because that's what we all have. We all have this beautiful Garden of Eden within us, and it's been trampled on and been totally full of weeds, and but it has not choked it out. Okay, those roots are still strong. You just have to focus more on what's going on within you and really acknowledge it for what it is, and not beat yourself up and not turn yourself into a victim over it, but really make those changes confidently and knowing that you're following universal law. And so it all has to work out. There's no way for it not to. Which brings us to the law of relativity, which the law of relativity teaches each person will receive a series of problems to strengthen the light within. So you're going to have a series of problems and things that happen that are happening to strengthen the light within you, because you have to have a strong light in order to deal with the things that we're going through in these next few years. Each of these tests is a challenge and remains a challenge until we've learned to look at it in a more positive light. So once we learn to look at things as it's something positive, it's something to help us grow, then we won't be challenged with it anymore. The law of the law of relativity states that nothing is what it is until you relate it to something. It is all about the neutrality of things when seen in isolation. Interesting. So, what does that mean? So, the law of relativity states that nothing is what it is until you relate it to something. So, how does this connect to other laws? The law is connected to the law of polarity because it requires the understanding that all things are relative and that problems are simply opportunities in disguise. This law helps us compare our problems to other problems and put everything into its proper perspective. You know, when I worked at Nordstrom's back in the 90s, they would never let us say that we are challenged by something. Everything was called an opportunity for growth. And that was using this law of relativity. It's like, what perspective are we putting our situations in and challenges in? How are we identifying these problems or these situations in our lives as how are they relative to us? What are they showing us that we maybe need to change, alter? What perspective do we need to have on this? So see, there's lots and lots of stuff to dissect with this when you're going through life consciously. You're not going through life just, and it gets exhausting. It gets exhausting to constantly parse through all this. But I'm telling you, once you learn these laws, and we've just gone over a few of them, but once you've learned these laws and you start really looking into them and going, okay, I need to watch and see, okay, my environment is a reflection of my inner self. What's going on with my inner self? What are the belief systems that I had? Where do those belief systems come from? Oh, those came from the program church. Those came from the program parents, a pair who rents me. Those are from Those are from the neighbor because they were brought up this way. They have nothing to do with me. Okay, well, then I can go ahead and do this and it's going to be okay. Yeah, are people going to be looking at you like, how dare you do this? Yeah, but that's because they don't have the guts to do it and they wish that they did. So you got to be confident in going through this. So let me read more about the law of relativity a little bit more. So, connection to the other laws, as I've already said, the law is connected to the law of polarity because it requires the understanding that all things are relative and that problems are simply opportunities in disguise. This law helps us compare our problems to other problems and put everything into its proper perspective. So, here's practical application. Learn to see your problems as potential opportunities and learn to keep them in perspective. As I said, practice gratitude for the lessons and strengths derived from each challenge. Remember, challenges are tailored to each individual unique journey and personal growth. So, every single quote problem you have, just calling it a problem, put in the law of relativity. It's like relative to this, is this a problem? It's a problem because you said it's a problem. When you stop thinking about things as problems and you start thinking about them as opportunities, watch your life expand and open. It just gives you so many more possibilities when you really realize that all the possibilities are open to you and they are here for you. Let's talk about the law of rhythm. So, the law of rhythm states that everything vibrates and moves to certain rhythms. Okay. Everything, nothing is standing still, everything is moving and vibrating. So, these rhythms establish seasons, cycles, stages of development, and patterns. Each cycle reflects the regularity of God's universe. So, connection to other laws. The law is closely related to the law of vibration. It teaches us to understand life's natural cycles and flow with them rather than resisting them. Yeah. So, this can manifest itself. You can see this. If you want to just keep on people that will talk about, well, why are things like this? Why is the government like this? Why is this happening? Why can't we have it like this? Why can't we have it like that? If the collective is vibrating at a low vibration and they don't realize their sovereignty and don't realize who they are, then the corresponding environment, outside environment, the governments and everything else are going to be chaotic and they're going to be reflecting that. The rhythm of the world is going to be reflecting the consciousness of each of us. So, do you see how your consciousness matters and how all this work of those of you that are actually doing the work, every meditation you do, every podcast of mine that you listen to and apply the information, every book that you read, I've got you guys, some of you guys on the book of the Four Agreements by Don Ruiz. Okay. You guys are seeing, oh my God, this is incredible, and you're utilizing that information will change you for the better and help you understand how to navigate this world. This work is more important than any work you will do, more important than your job that you're going to. If you're going to your job literally just for money, you will get more benefit and more flow and abundance out of your life if you will really focus on what you want and what you're here for, and the rhythm of your life will drastically improve. So the connection to the other laws of the law of rhythm. The law is closely related to the law of vibration. It teaches us to understand life's natural cycle and flow with them rather than resisting them. So, practical application for the law of rhythm. Learn to observe the natural rhythms in your life and the world around you. Work with these rhythms instead of against them. For example, understanding and accepting the ebb and flow of business, relationships, and personal energy can help you make the most of each phase. So you see that a lot with animals. If you have animals, we just had a dog that we've had for a few years who is a little Bichon, and he did not mesh well with our Great Dane and our two Basset hounds. And he has been spending years trying to mark his territory, trying to find a place here, and it really didn't work. Um, and the rhythm of the house was just off and had been off for a long time. And it caused so much disharmony with in my family and everything else. Well, my son took that dog the other day, and the rhythm of our house is so much better. We're not spending the first 2 hours of our morning cleaning up all of his markings and all this, because he's also been mad because we have cats show up here, and we have 5 cats right now, two which were strays that they just come and we take care of them. And that little dog he wouldn't accept the changes. He wouldn't accept the rhythm changes and these new earth changes. But now he's over. He wants to be with a single person, and he's over there and he's doing great. So we've got to recognize what the rhythms are, see if there's a way to change them, accept that, yes, this is the way it is. That doesn't mean, like in the case of this little dog was disliked by some of the humans here because he was, marking his territory and everything and ruining our furniture. And it wasn't until I stopped everything I was doing and stopped being angry with the dog and just really observing what's going on. Why is this dog upset? What do we need to do? Okay. And really taking inspired action, and also encouraging people around me to take inspired action and to learn to serve the animal kingdom instead of just serving themselves. And that changed the rhythm of our house because people stepped up and took care of this dog, and we're working together for these animals, not just getting rid of the dog or euthanizing the dog or rehoming it or something like that. So let's go to the law of gender. I bet you didn't expect that one. This one's really interesting. The law of gender states that everything has a yin and a yang, meaning having a feminine and a masculine energy, and that these are the basis for all creation. So within your being, no matter how you present yourself, you have within you male and female, the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And it emphasizes, so meaning having feminine, masculine energies, and that these are the basis for all creation. It emphasizes that we must balance our masculine and feminine energy to become a true co-creator with God. So in order to, any issues that you have with another human being, it's because they're out of balance. Any issues that you personally have, it's that you're out of balance. People that you like, enjoy, get along with, it's because they're in balance or they balance you out. So connection to other laws. The law complements the law of divine oneness by highlighting the quality within the universe's unity. It also ties into the law of polarity, emphasizing the dual nature of reality. Practical application. Focus on balancing the masculine and feminine energies within yourself. Cultivate assertiveness and empathy, logic and intuition, security or strength and flexibility. You can live a more harmonious and fulfilled life by achieving this balance. So the takeaways on this are: exploring the 12 universal laws offers a profound journey into the universe's mechanics and the places within it. Working through these and how you work through them, and also I want you to weave together this understanding that you're trying to connect with your sovereignty, knowing that you're sovereign, knowing that you have the power within you. And don't forget all the darkness in the world. If all of it was focused on one candle burning, it couldn't turn it out. could not burn out that light. Okay. So imagine how much you have enough power within your vessel to illuminate 100-watt light bulb. Okay. That's a lot of power. And you can change the world around you. You can change your marriage. You can change your work life. You can change your community. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever situation that you find yourself in at this present moment is not hopeless, is not the way it is. It can absolutely be changed. And these laws, from the law of the divine oneness to the law of gender, collectively illuminate a path of spiritual enlightenment and personal growth that is so phenomenal. And this is such an incredible way to live. I was not living until I clicked into this and started living within divine law and understanding that God lives within me. Christ consciousness, the Christ is within you. And the second coming, that's happening once you guys click into Christ consciousness, which is these universal laws illuminating in you that you have this knowledge within your vessel. It has just been covered by all of these different programs and frequencies that they have put into our realm. And I know it just seems unbelievable that we're at this time, in our world, that we are going to be going into a galactic society, and we're going to be having, fairies and elves and all these things that we're going to be able to see, and working with the elementals and all of that. And you guys can work with it now, but I don't want to sound too cray cray. So we're just going with the information, getting you guys in tune to the spiritual world, realizing that things are changing, and that you have both energies within you, and you just want to balance those. If you would like to know a way of balancing those that will profoundly 100% work, you can go to the Monroe Institute on YouTube and look up the Gateway Experience. It's a 30-minute free meditation. And if you will do that meditation every single day, commit to it. Okay, it's March 6th, 2025. I would love for you guys to go find that Monroe Institute. Look up Monroe Institute 30-minute HemiSync. Put in 30-minute free HemiSync into YouTube, and it will come up. And there is actually this whole thing you can go through, but just look for that 30-minute one and commit, no matter what, that you're going to play that 30-minute HemiSync. And the days that you will just chill out and put your headphones on and listen to it, just listen to it every single day. You could do it when I first started this, because I wasn't in the mindset, I had all that chatter going on. Just put it on while you're doing chores around your house, while you're driving to work, if you want, just to get it in, just to make sure that you don't miss a day, just so you don't have excuses. So do it for 30 days, and I guarantee you will be more balanced. All of this that I just went over will make tons of sense to you, and you will be thrilled with the results. But this is the work that we're doing. I also want to invite you to go to my store, shoprawwithpeace.com, and utilize all of the products and services that I have there for you. So I have all the hard to find products, and I'm getting new ones in. I'm getting them in as I can get inventory. because I'm doing all this on the fly, all this trusting the universe. So, but we have methylene blue from an incredible company. And we have, I'm getting this beautiful Lumerian honey in. The company that the methylene blue is in is called Fractal Forest. And I've also ordered this raw bioactive Kauai honey, which in Kauai is where Lemuria is, Stargate 12. And so I want to believe that this honey is coming right from there. So those of you that know. So to get this honey, I'm not sure how much it will be. I think it's around 30 bucks. But and it comes in this beautiful cobalt blue jar that you can use again. You can refill, use it for something else. I also have DMSO in my store, which you want to utilize. It's a DNA repair, and you can also get the stuff. You can get DMSO on Amazon. All the stuff is available wherever. So it's not about me trying to get you to shop, with me. But all of my stuff is real copper. I've got real copper water bottles. Everybody should be drinking out of a copper water bottle, not a Stanley mug. Um, so you want to raise your vibration. I've got copper cups. I've got a copper pitcher. I've got copper bowls for baking, and it does make a difference. Um, so check out my shop, get your supplies. I've got a product nanotech scrub that is a great detox scrub. I am reformulating it as I am learning about the crystalline structure of the borax, finding out that it kind of attracts the oil. And so it's making it a little bit hard to keep it soft like we want it. So I am reformulating it, but it is available still, so you can purchase it. But I am dealing with that. So all of you guys that have purchased one and it's hardened on you, we are taking care of you and working on that. So check out my store. I also have in shoprawwithpeace.com. I also have a blog section, and there is CMOS and there's lasers. There's different things. I'm trying to make it kind of a New Earth headquarters. So if you have products or services that are in alignment with mine and you would like to be on my blog, um, I would love to put you on my blog, and I'll put a link to your products, and then you can have a discount code for all of the Raw with Peace shoppers. So that's the way I'm working with other new earth people. So if you're somebody that has a new earth business, a healing business, or something like that, a product, and you would like to work together and have it on each other's websites or have it on my website, let me know. But everybody practice this, figure out your sovereignty, take responsibility for your life. I know it's difficult at first and it's easy to play the blame game and the fault game, but you want to take responsibility. You want to figure out your part in this, and you want to figure out how you can move the frequencies around and create an environment of flow within love that will benefit you and thus benefit the collective. You doing that, you are serving the collective. You're living your life in service by doing this. So every single thing that you do that is within flow is helping humanity. So everybody slow down for 2025. Look at what you're doing. Decide what you want to do. Make decisions within universal law, within love, within divine oneness, and watch your life flourish. And get ready, you guys. Telling you, and I've been telling you, and I didn't lie, did I? It's things are crazy, and they're going to get nuttier and nuttier and nuttier and more crazy outside of you. So you have to have a strong center point and a strong routine that you do that can anchor you every single day to keep you grounded during this, or you will not make it. You will not make it. You will spin out. And some people are literally going to combust because they will not be able to handle this information. Well, everybody have a wonderful day, and I will be back shortly. And please go to wherever you are listening to this podcast. I've put up the ability to make comments. If you're a fan of the podcast, I would love to hear your comments on Buzzsprout. There's a fan, you can click on it and leave your messages. On Apple, you can leave your comments. You can support the podcast. It's like $3 subscription if you want to support me in that way. And then I also have on YouTube, I'm on YouTube now. My TikTok is monica.anderson222, but it's primarily going to be my shop. And I only have some things on there, but it's mainly that. But I'm all over. So YouTube, X, and my podcast are my big things to connect. And I would love to link arms and support you and to work together on this. So if you're somebody that loves this information, if you have a podcast as well, or you have a YouTube and you want to have a conversation, I would love to talk with other people that are going through this and just like dynamically have conversations on for people so they can see how other people are going through this and things that have worked for you, things that are working for you, and how you're living your life, and how we can be a support to one another in a real tangible way. Like, I'm not just on here on a screen, where I'm not tangible. You can get a hold of me. You can get a hold of me and I can be on a conversation with you like right away. And I do that. I do. If you do want to talk with me, if you're somebody that's known me for a while and you want to get a hold of me, and just have a conversation and just talk about things, but you're not wanting coaching necessarily, but you just want to talk to me, you can book it under a discovery call and get on my calendar. That seems to be the best way. So that is free and you won't be charged when you book it. Now, if you would like coaching sessions that include my incredible Genius Insight frequency scan, you can schedule that go to my website, shoprawwithpeace.com. You can schedule all of this, also my link tree, all of this on my TikTok. It's all in the description of the video below. But I've let you guys know all that. Focus on these universal laws, really think about them. Listen to speakers like Napoleon Hill, Neville Goddard, Frances Scovel Shin. She's amazing. These are all people from the 30s and 20s, 30s, 40s that are giving great information on this universal law and how to utilize it in your life. So I live purely by universal law, and I can tell you it's dynamic. It's dynamic and it completely changes you. So everybody have a wonderful, wonderful day. I'm excited to hear your comments about this podcast and where you guys are at. And so definitely let me know wherever you are watching and listening to this. Say hello. And I look forward to future interactions. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.